Hello, folks. Everybody who is on, can you give a quick shout out so we can welcome you? Mario, bless up, respect. Hanif, welcome. Um, who else is there? You know, drop a comment so we know. Kenneth, um, welcome. I don't know if Trudy talked to you yet, but she should have. She's been a busy lady lately. Alicia, welcome. Good night. Ricardo, big up. What's going on? Trinidad in the building. Dwayne, welcome, man. I don't know if Dwayne, you guys have similar situation in Trinidad with concentrate feed, but that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. So if you're having similar issues there, drop a comment, let us know. If we're all in the same boat. Oliver, big up. Oh, that's family right there. I didn't realize that. I didn't see the last name, Trudy. Who else is here? Give a shout out. Let me give you a shout out and a welcome. You guys see me bouncing on camera. That's because I shake my leg. When I'm comfortable, I shake my leg. And I don't know how to stop it because it happens involuntarily. I don't know how to, unless I consciously like fold my legs or something so I don't shake. Santino, big up. Welcome. Let's see who else is here. You guys do me a favor, and as usual, share the link in all the different groups. The St. Elizabeth man, them share it. The St. Catherine man, them share it, and women share it. St. Mary folks, share it in your group. So we're gonna have Khalil to talk about this feed thing. So we'll get some solid information on when we'll have regular supply of certain feed. You know what I mean? So, Merlin, Florida people, I'm in the place. Original cookies. That's my term for a chef. Anthony, big up farm. Welcome. So we have, my mom's on. Big up Barbara Amman. I mean, I can't cuss tonight if I feel like. Jeez. Have your parents checking in by your thing. You can't behave yourself. Let's act like she's not here. How about that? How about them apples? So let's get into it. Khalil, I don't see your video. He's in the green room. Oh, there he is. So without any further delay, I'll bring Khalil in and start questioning. There you go. My producer's on the ball tonight. Khalil,
Hey man, what's up?
what's going on?
Yeah,
Are you guys hearing me clearly? Everything good with that? Give me a thumbs up because every time I have guests on, it kind of creates an issue. So let me know if I'm clear. All right. Khalil,
yes, boss.
how are you?
Not bad. Can't complain.
I see you. I see you in the streets as usual, working hard. You were in Port Maria, my town, a
Yes,
couple of
yes,
days
I
ago.
was in your place. Good turnout too.
I ain't
The
get no
farmers.
I ain't get no invitation, bro.
Really? How come?
I don't know, man. So I didn't get that memo.
What? Come like and your rod officer talk about you so much?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
tell him for come talk him for do.
No, the guy down the road came.
Stop, have thought about me and come talk to me, Mr. Edwards,
Yes,
the young
yes,
youth.
yes. Cool guy, cool guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's enthusiastic about his
Yes,
job.
yes, yes.
So I got to give him that. You know, what I mean, I hope he's on. I'll be hold out if he's on. If not, well, it's on the internet, so somebody will tell him. So what is this we're dealing with, Khalil? I got a memo that says our highly rated maintenance ration will be out of circulation for almost 2 months.
Yes, almost 2 months. As in COVID, well, the impact of COVID on the industry is
Big up Mr.
hard.
Crawford. Not to cut you, but big up Mr. Damian Crawford. He's here
Oh, yes,
tuning in.
big up Mr. Crawford.
Respect. Go ahead.
The impact of COVID on
Hmm.
Jamaica on a whole is proving how vulnerable we are to to the global landscape and that everything is interconnected. And if we're not thinking about, as the title for today is animal feed security, human feed security, we in problems. So simple changes in how the shipping industry work, um, changes in prices based on demand, based on even weather conditions, so that it impacting our industry, especially feed prices and ingredient supply. So that's a big problem we have now. We most most companies who depend heavily on import has had to increase their prices or having an issue with supply, and that's what we face right now with the feed mill. Is that some ingredients are just in shortage, and for the logistics to get here, we know it won't take probably the next 2 to 3 months. So with that said, we had to go to the table and kind of rationalize what we're going to do. And one of the decisions that were made was basically to stop the maintenance for 12 weeks and really just provide the original goat ration that's in demand mainly in most of the farm stores. The farm stores really sell the goat ration. So, and they're going to now eliminate not eliminate, but put back the general maintenance and kind of bring back the beef ration for the cattle farmers. So they will have access to that, especially the ones who, doing a lot of feedlot and they want, a more high performance ration. So that's what we have. So what I can say to the farmers is that it we're gonna have some challenges, especially with the price, because we know the goat ration is a little bit more expensive. But what we do is that we're trying to get the same arrangement with the goat ration with say Mr. Bartley, we would still be able to provide the goat ration at a reasonable rate than what you get from the farm store. Um, we're talking about that with Mr. Edwards to say we need to create a St. Mary cluster because the farmers there were saying that, hey, when they go to the farm store, they get in the general maintenance for probably like 1,800. One guy in St. Mary said he got it for 1,006 something, which is to me not a bad markup from the farm store. So we want to create that cluster.
So
Um,
hold on, stick up in before you go too far. So my understanding, based on what you're saying, is that based on the scarcity of ingredients, they're discontinuing the maintenance ration for a period of time. In
12
order to
for
can
12
be
yeah for 12 weeks.
that.
What
So,
what what, what are important ingredient like ammonium chloride,
mhm,
which you could probably take out of the feed and sell it on the market, but we didn't want to take that risk for farmers
mhm.
to start complaining about urinary alkaline, etc. So decision is just to run with what the farm store really want, which is the goat ration, and discontinue the general maintenance for 12 weeks. The greatest thing I see from this is that we could now go back to the drawing board and develop a better general maintenance ration based on what the farmers want, which is something that I really wanted to say, hey guys, if you have any ideas, even a name, don't want the name change. We want to even change the name of the general maintenance to something more related to small ruminants.
Okay, I object to a couple. You
Okay.
know, so when you come on iGoat chat, here's a couple of things. One, and I addressed this to you before,
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that the maintenance ration is being sold at the price point it is in the retail. stores was always been an issue for me because you and I know what you, myself, Maki went through to get this to the market.
All right.
And it was
Let me answer that. Let me
mhm.
answer that. I think if you look at it, I think we're probably, I think the concept came wrong for what was created was that we gave the power to a farmer or farmers like yourself to have their ration. And I think that is where it would have made sense because if you check it out, Mac is still providing that reasonable price to the farmers. We cannot control how the farm store do it. And that is what I was hoping. Just like to say, boy, Mackey created it. You have more farmers who would take up that responsibility and own the feed. Because if you and the supplier have that relationship where you can make that type of demand, that make you as the farmer a little bit more powerful. And I think that is where we went wrong to say, boy, we must look at the farm store and see how we can change the farm store price. No.
Okay, no, hold on. No, you misunderstand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is we went into this under the impression that we're developing a more effective, more cost
Effective
effective,
feed.
and equally as good feed ration,
Mhm.
right? I thought I'm still under the impression
Mhm.
that we achieved that.
Yes.
However, the end user didn't see the benefit.
That's what I'm saying. I think probably where even myself fell short is that I should have promoted this thing as more as the farmer's feed. Because
Mhm.
once you go to the farm store, you really and truly cannot tell them how, I want you to keep it below this price. You cannot tell the farm store that. They're
Yes, you
independent.
can. Like iPhones do it.
No,
Nothing do it.
no, iPhone have regulated distributors with contracts and
However,
security.
oh, okay, I understand.
That's not the
However,
case.
what if Hypro had said, "Yo, this is the suggested retail price for this product"?
No, I don't think with our free market that is something. I remember when Bubbler, Pepsi came out and they had the Bubbler. They said the suggested retail price should be $50. And when Bubbler dropped, it was 60. Bubbler is $100 right now. So I say you cannot control everybody. You could probably control
And I agree, you can
big farm
control,
stores
but
who
you can
you and them have that relationship. But what about the little small man when say I do a hustle and
no.
him go
What I'm
buy some
saying,
bag of feed from the feed mill and you can't control him.
no, I understand that. I understand it. But what I'm saying is to protect the integrity of your product and your company, you can say, "Yo, I cannot tell a retail store, a regular farm store, what to sell, but our suggested retail price is X." What
As
they
in,
do at the end is not, we can't control that because you're
yeah,
making a setup so.
yes, that's why I
But you
don't see even
protect,
the
yeah, but
reason
you
to say
protect
it.
yourself to say, if you protect yourself to say, "Yo, I'm developing a product for you. I'm developing an affordable product for the people." Talk to your local store why they're marking it up that much. I am suggesting that it should be sold for X.
As in, honestly, I think
Mhm.
that would be unprecedented. And I don't know if
Well, we can't change, we can't develop, we can't
I
progress.
wait on you. I wait on you to make some moves like that, and then we'll see how it work. Because
I will.
I
No,
just never
I'm not
seen that
scared to do,
before.
because I know nothing's gonna change unless we rub some people around with. That's just how the history work. You know what I mean?
I
Anyway,
get you.
yeah.
I
Anyway,
get you.
continue. So now we're in a situation where the maintenance ration will be discontinued, and they will be servicing the regular goat. What is it? What
Goat
is it?
ration.
Goat
You have
ration.
access, the
Yeah.
regular access to the goat ration.
What is the breakdown of the goat ration? What's
Um,
the
well, the major difference for the goat ration was really the percentage of the crude protein. Remember,
Mhm,
as I say, we're looking at how to make it cheaper. So
mhm.
it's just that the regular goat ration is 18% crude protein compared to the general, which was 15. That's the major differences. The relative mineral complex, the additives that we add in there that makes our feed superior is added in both the ration. Just the crude protein that was removed to bring
And
down the price.
what are the possible side effects of an animal that's used to the maintenance ration versus the goat ration?
Well, what the major issues that you can have with it is that you might have incidents of overfeeding. Um, if you're used to feed the general maintenance at a higher rate, you might have some problems with that. I would know what overfeeding
Meaning
can
bloat,
cause.
bloat or
Temperature
urinary
like
calculi,
bloats, digestive disturbances,
or
that type of
urinary
stuff. diarrhea,
Alkaline.
scores. Well, and uric alkali, I don't think so because ammonium chloride is in the goat ration. You get what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say you would get that from it. But it, especially if for kids, you might have some urinary alkali issues. Maybe, yes, for kids, you should, maybe. But I wouldn't say that's the major difference. That's the major issue I see with switching to the goat ration. Just overfeeding and probably some digestive disturbances for a while till the animal get used to this higher plane of nutrition. Okay? It's a superior feed to the general maintenance ration on a crude protein level, which you know a
Mhm.
lot of farmers like. So that's the major issue I see. So for most farmers out there,
Okay.
I tell you guys to probably cut it back a little bit, introduce it slowly, transition your animals into this new feed.
Okay. Let's
It's,
talk.
it's a better
Let's.
feed though, guys, for who running down a particular conditioning for the animals. This will get you there, especially for milk producers. This is a better ration for producing milk. It's higher protein, definitely for milk production.
How does it compare to the dairy ration that you sell?
All right, the dairy ration, or the differences with these two formulations is that the dairy ration is more specific to production of milk. So the amino acids level is different and it's a low in protein. It's about 16%. The dairy ration, the goat is 18, but it's just that the amino acid profile is unique. It's formulated to push milk. That's the
Okay.
major difference.
All right. Let's talk about the transition process or introductory process of this of a new
Have a
concentrate.
new concentrate. Well,
Can you tell
I
them
know.
the proper way to do it, the correct way to do it?
All right, the correct way to do it is just what if at the training that you were talking about, say how we feed even silage. If you want to switch any ingredient, you might end up with problems. Same bloat issues is a big issue when you transition, or the same diarrhea, scores. Um, so we follow a 70-30 rule to transition. So we're starting with say if you say you're feeding 10 pounds, 7 pounds would be the maintenance, and then 3 pounds will be the goat ration. Then I will run that for 2 days, that's 70-30. On day three, now I'll switch it to a 50-50. And on day six, now I switch it to back now to the 70-30, but now the goat ration. And then by 2 days after that, I should be 100% goat ration. We shouldn't really see any major impact on the animal digestive process. So that is the rule, guys, to transition animals. And with any feed type changes, if you're changing, what I incident at when I was working somewhere else before this, where we got sugarcane, access to sugarcane because it was drought, serious drought. And we are feeding king grass before, all fine king grass field done. And we say, guess what? We're going into the sugarcane. Put up the sugarcane and throw the sugarcane and give some sheep. We had like 3 deaths, the next morning due to that issue. And it's just to remind us that, guys, this can happen. So transition your feed when you're doing any ingredient from hay to silage, fresh grass to silage, fresh grass to hay. You should transition. It definitely helps. Especially if you're running like a dairy operation, you wouldn't want that because any shift in the room and now you're going to lower your milk production for a couple of days and that's your money. So you really want to reduce the potential, reducing productivity.
Okay. So now that we're in this position, so I am sure that Nutrimix may have a similar challenge because I've heard from many farmers that some of their products are also in short supply. So now that we're in this position, um, what are some of the substitutes that's around us, mainly forage or silage, whatever, that we can take advantage of to fill the gap? Um, I know that there's a lot of different grass and legumes and brushes, or what they call them, that are available to us. If you don't, I know you're short on time. If you could give me another 10 minutes or so, I have this chart. I think you gave me this chart a while back, that I'm going to put on the screen, and I think it's the grass. And if you could give us a breakdown of these different grass and how our farmers can use them, and then we'll go on to the legume stuff after.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. So can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
And anybody else? Everybody can see this. If you can see it, give me a thumbs up. So just go through it here. Um, so let's start with the top, and you can give us the name, the Jamaican name for someone. Oh, that's the trees, the legumes and stuff.
Yeah,
Do you want to
these are
do this
the
first, or
these
you
are
want to do the grass first? Which one you want to do?
um well, it doesn't really matter anywhere you want to start. We can start. Well, we start from the grass. Let's start from the
Okay,
basic.
okay. Let's start from the grass, guys. I really want to start with the grass myself.
Yeah.
Um, because the grass is a little more challenging with the names and stuff. So we'll start with the grass. Um, I think this is the grass. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
perfect.
grass. Um, so let's start with the first one here.
All right, let me just kind of get it done quickly and let everybody can understand. So
Mhm.
guys, what we did here is that we did a research. We were basically collecting these different forages across the island. They had a germplasm at Boodles, one at Grove Place, and like selected farmers who would work with. We'll go around and collect the different grasses on their farm and then run a proximate analysis, which means we're basically looking for the nutrient profile for each forage. And then we would present it to the farming community so we could better develop, rations, how best to, how much concentrate you really need based on these grasses, because it's a balancing act when you're thinking about feeding the animals. So I'm not going to give you all the different definitions at the top where you see in percentage, but the main ones you want to look at is the crude protein, which everybody like, and the NDF. The NDF means neutral detergent fiber, and that is a fiber. It's a fiber analysis. So you want to basically know how much cellulose you can find in that plant, and that can determine how much the animal can really consume and how much it can really be digestible, right? So we're going to look at those two. So the very first grass we have here is limpo. That's the common name for it. So I think when I found this grass, I was saying it was probably the most excellent forage that we're going to have in Jamaica to produce here, just by how it grows. Like fine leaves on it um, to the sides, and it's literally a soft, succulent, straw-like material grass. So I put it at the top because it was like top tier for me. So you guys can look at the crude protein level for it, and this experiment would kind of average the grasses between 6 to 8 weeks in regrowth. So we can say the higher the NDF, that means more fibrous it is, and that's a problem. We will love an NDF score, at least between 45 and 50. That would be good for us for forages. So limpo is there. The rest, the one that you say has panicum maximum, that four is the same species of guinea grass, but there are different varieties that we have across the island. Like the Riversdale that you see there, the bottom one can only be found in Riversdale in St. Catherine. And then we had like the Maconi and the green panic. The green panic is found in St. Elizabeth, that very fine leaf guinea grass that they use and make the mulch. So, you can see the crude protein there also, not bad. Um, you know, compared to temperate regions, we have poor forages because you can probably get grasses up to 12% crude protein in some of these countries. We have grasses just averaging between 5 and 8. Um, the next important ones I think everybody like to know about is the pennicetums. You see, we have 4 different pennicetums. I always tell you that elephant grass, king grass, and then a pear grass are the same. That's the name, that's the scientific name, and we had a lot of different varieties. The best one for me was definitely dwarf napier, was a straight leaf. And then, I'm still a king grass man because of the high biomass that you get per acre with this type of grass. So for like a farmer with probably 2 acres, I'd recommend him do a king grass fodder bank and get a lot more fodder material from that small area compared to, other grasses. And then we had 2 type of brachiaria. The Caloris Ghana, that Rhodes grass, that grass you always see on the roadside with the little, it have like 4 little, you know, antennas coming out of it. A very good hair grass. Um, really good hay grass. And then the mulatto 2 at that time was the most improved grass that we have there. But even the mulatto 2, when we did the analysis, the crude protein levels was a little bit better compared to them. But what was really good for us was the NDF. If you look at the NDF, it's 37. And as I said, that's a fiber calculation. So that means even though it have 9% crude protein, we can probably actually consume or digest the amount of nutrients from it compared to this one with the high fiber. Yes, it might have good protein there, but you cannot get the protein outside of it because it's so fibrous. So the best grasses, you see Pangola is there. It's a Digitaria species. So for me, the top tier out of this is definitely your king grass, your Napier grass, your Pangola grass, and definitely your Guinea grass. That I see running the place. For good hay, I would consider the Limpo, the Pangola for sure. Rhodes grass probably for the horse guys. And for silage making, definitely all the Pennisetum species are a good batch to have there. Everything that is in Pennisetum and in Panicum, good grass for silage making. High biomass works for you if you're setting up a fodder bank. So make
All right.
fun.
So okay, that's the grass. I also have the forage stuff that I'm gonna also
I see
ask
Mr.
you.
Crawford talking about African Star. African Star is probably yes, like probably the most native grass. Actually, my supervisor father, Dr. Motto Ray, Sam
Yeah.
Motto was the one who brought in African Star to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hardest grass you can find out there. Um, I it I would never give it away. If I find it on a farm, I'll keep it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not the best on a nutritional level. Good to make hay, but it's it's not especially for goats. I wouldn't say it's the best grass. Yes, they like to use them lips. So with that straw, they won't consume as much out of it. That's my problem with it. Good for cow, because cow actually wrap their tongue around the grass and pull it up. So that that's why I say I know for African Star.
Okay, so let's talk about the browsing plants, the legumes and stuff. Here we are.
All
Um,
right, all right.
and I
This
think
here,
this is where people are gonna get excited. But
oh
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
you to break this thing down right for me, Khalil, the way
All
you
right,
break it down for me, because I don't want people taking the wrong message from this.
all right,
Okay, I want
all
to
right,
get
all
the
right.
script and the right application.
All right, guys. All right, this is your winner crops. I call them winner crops because they're highly nutritious, and I know everybody loves protein. And these are your high protein. These are non-leguminous shrubs, leguminous trees and shrubs. That's the combination we have here. So when we went across the island, we're asking farmers, what you use and feed the animals. And everybody have have a different name for it. So we try to break it down for the most common names, and we try to use the top tier ones. So the very first one was jackfruit, if you look at it there. Right? Farmers do feed their animal jackfruit, like the spoiled jackfruit, like literal fruit itself. They would show that in their goat pen, especially in St. Mary. I see that a lot when we're doing this collection, right? Um, if you go down the line now, you have raw moon. Raw moon is a tree with a little red fruit on it. A lot of people always talk about it. Lagwood, you guys know lagwood, lagwood honey. We saw this in Colombia. In Colombia, they grow lagwood just to feed their cattle. So we came out here looking at lagwood quality. I never really I wasn't impressed with the crude protein level, but for all of these browsers, what I can say is that the fiber level is so good that you're really getting your nutritional value. You're getting the right nutrients out of these trees because it's not that fibrous. People feed breadfruit, the fruit and the actual leaf. We saw Godi again. Godi is our calabash, right? We saw that they fed that also in Colombia, so we're looking at that. Look at it here. Um, the top tier ones now that I know everybody want to talk about is the bread nut, right? We perform bread nut at about 14% on average. So we might find levels at 20%, but on average across the island, we could say it was about 14%. And if you look at the fiber content is 27. That's very low. As a it's a problematic feed to feed by itself just by the NDF levels, and it have so much protein inside. That's why people get problems when they feed the bread nut, especially at large quantities. The Basida that everybody talk about, 15%. The fiber content was fair, about 50%, but it has a lot of high tannins that can cause some problems. So I don't really recommend it as like a standalone protein shrub. So there we have everybody talk about guango pod. It's a very big thing. I remember I see King Curry showing it. We did some analysis on the guango pod. As we see the Samenia salmon, that pod right there, 17% crude protein. The fiber level was about 34. The TDN is like the total digestible nutrients outside of it is about 65. So this, as I say, when we talk, it's a very good pod to feed the animals. We see why. Look at the nutrient level light. Then the leucine that everybody talking about. And let me tell you what a lot of persons don't know. You have two types of leucine in Jamaica. You know. The biggest problem that we have with leucine is that the leucine that we don't want is the one that's spread around the place. If you guys go by bottles, you'll go over there and see a leucine that is specific to fodder production. It grows totally different from the leucine that we used to. You have way more leaves and the leaves are finer. So if you plan to do a fodder bank with leucine, I would recommend that you go and get the right leucine and not the ones that you don't get much leaf out of it and then easy to spread. So make at least the best one spread. Everybody know about mulberry. There was a big mulberry craze the other day. Seed 18% crude protein, very high. The NDF is 30. I can tell you a secret about mulberry is that they did a research once with mulberry and hay, and it did excellent. It was an excellent crop just to have with your hay to maintain the animals. So, you know, mulberry is a big one. Trichantera or Trichantera.
Which tree is that? Which plant is that?
That one you can really find it like in a lot of the rainfall areas like St. Mary, Portland. It's a very green leaf plant. It was popular with mulberry, but people like mulberry because of the fruit. But when the high protein non-leguminous shrubs came out, it was all about mulberry and Trichantera. So it's a thick green leaf. My biggest issue with it is that I have a lot of hair prickles on it. Like there's some hair here, and that can affect how you, especially goats, how they would consume it because it, are troubling them like esophagus and so. So that was my problem. But they're excellent to dry them down and crush them up and feed them out. It is one of the best sources that you can possibly get from a plant. And then everybody know quick stick or St. Vincent steak, the one that you see in the fence post. 16% crude protein, good NDF. The biggest issue with quick stick is that too much of it, especially fed to dairy animals, can taint the milk. But if you're doing a fattening program, your grasses, a good quality grass, some of these shrubs, and a little of the hyperfeed is the ultimate way forward because you will definitely reduce the dependency on concentrate. Yes, I sell your feed, but at the same time, we want to have a sustainable industry. So I'm not going to push it down to say, depend on me to always formulate a ration for it. That would be wrong of me. You guys have these secret weapons here that can make your production a lot less cheaper, especially regarding your feed costs. So it's just to really take it up.
Okay, so Khalil, on both charts, there is the crude protein percentage, the column CP percent,
Yes.
and as fed.
Okay, perfect. Good
Okay,
question.
so before you go on, I was on this webinar or whatever it is with you and then from Puerto Rico. Remember that? I think it was a farm to farmer thing.
Yeah.
And he's adamant about when you're analyzing or trying to figure out what you feed your animal, think about the as fed composition versus what the actual paper says the composition of the plant.
Definitely.
So can you explain what as fed means in real life?
All right, guys. Remember,
real application.
I see we always use the term. That is why we feed here, because the animal more dry matter, and sometimes we use it incorrectly. When we make reference to the dry matter content, is that we remove the water from it completely and then we test or remove, we eliminate the water from it and consider what the animal is really consuming. So this is what the as fed basis mean versus the CP basis. The CP basis is when we remove the water, right, and say this is what you'll get at that dry level. The as fed basis is now when the animal actually consuming this plant, so it factor in the moisture content, so it factor in like a dilution ratio to what will happen to your feed, right? Because with the water, instead of them eating, remember if they eat 1 pound of dry matter, perfect. But if you eat 1 pound of the wet matter, you have to take out probably a 0.3 or even 50% out of that to actually eating 0.5 of that actual feed. So that is what we actually do with it to kind of make you guys know that for the as fed, this is what the level is going to be at when you're feeding it wet. And then, as a nutritionist, you kind of make the adjustment based on that, because for us, the animal do have a crude protein requirement. Him have a amino acid requirement that is down to the amount of grams or kg per dm, and that's a total different line of work that we'll have to go, because you wouldn't be seeing 9% there. You'll see a factor of the 9 to how much grams the animal will actually consume per dry matter. But
good job, boss. One last thing. Let's talk about the application of these different grass and legumes and browsing plants in the form of silage.
all right, guys. All right. So what the
Hold on.
same silage training?
I got a silage thing here that you can just reference if it's not too much.
Okay, no problem.
I think.
So guys, we're doing the silage training with the radar, and we're going to be right around the island. So we're expecting to touch majority of the parishes. So we'll be in Portland next week, Wednesday, at the parish office, and then we'll be in Trelawney, at Ruby for a silage training there. And then for November the 2nd and the 3rd, we'll be in St. Catherine, Clarendon, Clarendon Parish Office, I believe, and then in Lionel Town. So just, guys, check up with your radar officer if you want to participate, and make we talk about feed, because the more information I get from you guys, the better for me to go to my supervisor and ask, beg, to see what else we can do to make the feed more better for you. My job is really to make that connection. Yes, you might formulate a feed, but I need to see the feed working on your farm to actually know that it's doing its job. That's the life of what we do.
Okay. All right. So silage. Take it away, Star, because I hear a thing that.
Oh, yeah, man. You guys know silage is a fodder conservation process, right? We're talking about storing our feed for bad times. And the difference between, you have different methods of fodder conservation. You can produce hay, you dry the hay with a longer shelf life. Silage is one, it's a fermentation process. It's an anaerobic fermentation process. So the anaerobic means you remove the oxygen, no oxygen. If oxygen is in it, it's going to spoil. And then you have pelletization. Really, to pellet your feed is a form of storage method that some people do, So why we're focusing on silage, that I believe silage is probably a easy step process for the average farmer that have a shafting machine, and you can get some plastic drums and you have some molasses. So it's some readily available material that we have, and we can store feed, and we can store it in a drum, so you can even leave it outside compared to have to build up a shed to say you're going to produce hay. At the same time, for some of the grass species that we have out here, I think silage method is the best way to preserve them compared to drying them. Like, you don't really see a king grass hay. You get what I'm saying? You're not seeing that because of how the morphology of the plant is too thick. You can't really dry it out good. There's a lot of water inside of it, unless you're going to cut it at probably 3-4 weeks when it's very short, and then, that's not what you want. So we're pushing silage that, hey, the average farmer can do it. We always go out on the road on a daily basis and cut feed for our animals. So I'm saying to the farmer that, hey, probably when you cut feed, cut 2 drum extra, right? Have 2 drum in storage on your farm, and you keep doing that till you have 20 drum. So when that drought time come now, or you might sick enough to stay home, or the curfew affecting you, or we have prolonged rains. Like I remember one time we had 2-3 months worth of, like 2 weeks worth of rain. You can go into your silage milk, go into your silage and feed out. So the most important thing for your silage when I want you guys to look at it is, when you cut that grass, that is important. The quality of the grass, if you put in poor grass, you can get out poor grass. So the quality of the grass, you want to capture the grass at its best stage. That's one. Then you want to look at the particle size. How we're going to cut it down, because the particle size is important in the compaction process. You don't want it too fine, and you have decent amount of length inside of it. So when you go through the process, the animal can eat it without having too many digestive disturbances. The next thing that you want now is the inoculant that you're going to use. In St. Mary, we introduced the EM1, an inoculant that we got from someone who brought it in, which is what I did my studies on. So I'm really glad to have it here because we saw it improve. It reduced the silage time to 21 days compared to 4 weeks and 6 weeks. Right? To me, 21 days is perfect to can have a stable silage. I like to do that because they depend on silage making in Israel. And why I think now silage have an advantage over hay, if we're supposed to look at going into silage production or hay production to feed the sector, hay uses a particular set of grass with fine leaves, very low, and the amount of yield you get per acre for that is pretty low compared to the grasses that you can use and make silage, corn, sorghum, and with taller grasses. So you get more dry matter from using fodder bank type systems, high yielding plants to can feed the animals. That's why I promote it. So silage now fits for that. To say a king grass, which I push, the Mombasa, which I always pushing. These grass, the best way to conserve them is in the silage method, not the hay method. So I'm going to come around the island, guys, and we're going to be more one-on-one with this. We're going to do practical sessions. So I'm going to come out and make we do it. So we learn about it the best way, look at the different additives and so.
Couple of questions. This one is like, what do you refer to when you say the best time to cut the grass? It's based on the maturity of the grass. Can you explain that?
All right. So remember the same research, the grass that we're looking at, I said we look between 6 to 8 weeks. Because for tropical species, most of them, in that time frame, we say the grass get mature. But what we're also doing was trying to make sure that we track the nutrient profile over time so that we could identify the time where it reaches maximum level of nutrition and when it's starting to fall off. So that's why I say between 6 to 8 weeks, because when you reach week 12, I have it in one of my presentations, if you guys will see it some other time, that say, for example, Mombasa, when Mombasa reach week 12, it becomes 5%. The fiber content is about 60. But when you have Mombasa at 6 weeks, that thing is all 10% crude protein, the fiber content around 40. So that is, we're talking about when you want to cut the grass. So cutting all king grass to put in silage make no sense. Just better you feed it out. It's like ensiling paper. So we need to ensure that when we're doing our silage also, we know we have understand a pasture management where the best time to get the best quality silage out of that is at this week or that week. And if I go over that, I need to probably do something else. That's what I mean. And at that time, you have, once it's even less fibrous, you have more water-soluble carbohydrates that can be provided or accessible to the bacteria. And that make you less dependent on inoculants or silage additive. Let me say a silage additive, like molasses also. Because in some countries, they do have molasses.
There's a question right there. Can you ensile regular grass without adding molasses?
Yes, you can. You can really ensile the grasses without molasses. But that's when you want to get the optimum. Mm-hmm. The molasses enhances the process, yes, and improve palatability. But the real purpose of the molasses is that the bacteria get a quicker start to start becoming, breaking down carbohydrates, the lactic acid, which the acidification process is what preserve the grass. So that's one of the main reasons why we even use molasses. At 1%, it can do the job. Up to 5%. I wouldn't go over that.
So what is the purpose of the inoculant? Can you
all right, the inoculants, as it sounds, is like bacteria. So the bacteria, which is a lactic acid bacteria, lactobacillus and so, are the species that convert the carbohydrates into lactic acid. So what these guys basically do is culture different strains of these lactobacillus and even enzymes and other different bacteria that assist the process that they basically study and say this help with that, and they basically give you a cocktail. So this can allow you to even replace molasses. In Israel, when they're doing their wheat and them sorghum silage, it's inoculants, no molasses, and that's how it works. So
Okay, so I have a question. Based on the charts that we just reviewed, we have all these different grass, right? And then we have those browsing plants, those legumes and stuff. What would be a good split with the grass and legumes to do silage?
all right, I don't want to give you what I this is my opinion because
Mhm,
I like working off of data. I do have data on this, but I've seen studies where the same 70-30 ratio is fine, and even 50-50 to say like if you want to do like a mulberry. Um, the problem what you have with the high protein plants is that they increase the buffering capacity at the silage making process. So that's when you really need to add molasses or an inoculant because the bacteria work slower under these conditions when you have too much nitrogen inside the silage. That is why we do ensile high protein grass, high protein shrubs. What we ensile grasses that is mainly carbohydrates. So remember that, guys. I would recommend them make a lucina silage. You get what I'm saying? It highly likely going to spoil. Not at the same time possible, but highly likely it won't have the same effect of what we expect the silage process to do because the nitrogen level is just a little bit too high. I
So
see
it's a
Mr.
good
Gold.
it's a good idea to have
A
a
mix though,
70
yes, the mix is
70
important.
split
All right.
or
Let
80
me tell
20
you when a
split.
mix would make sense for me, Ray.
Hmm.
Say for example, you having your grass is old, say gone to 8 weeks and going over the 8 weeks. Then I will
Hmm.
add the nitrogen because now the nitrogen in the plant is locked up. So the bacteria is having problem now to utilize it as a part of their metabolic process. So you
Hmm.
want to kind of balance that ratio. So now I'll add these high protein plants to assist that process. But good quality grass, and I think we need to move more to the higher yielding crops like that nutrient value like sorghum and corn for silage making. I think that's when we're really going we change the game. We're going, especially with production costs. That's the biggest thing for most persons on a commercial level. The cost of feed. And ruminants, we have that capability of keeping it low, and I don't want us to forget that. Because that's how we're going to become productive.
Got it. So in the current environment where now we're without the affordable concentrates and stuff or the scarcity of it, um, what would be the proper mix for fresh forage grass versus these legumes like lucina or quick stick or bread nut and things? Is it a similar split 70-30,
Yeah, it's a very similar split and to say boy, on average,
Mm-hmm.
But if we want more like a more detailed formulation, what I can do or what I promise, well, I wasn't ready for that because I really wanted to kind of have a little have TMR under more control because with the TMR now I can really put out solid formulations that we balance properly to say, hey, this is the right. When I do tests on the mineral levels of all of these plants and check it out, go down, we just run this through a program. So we're not there as yet. So give me time. As we grow the industry, it would make sense for me to pitch that type of research to really make
Okay.
a strong, robust TMR program.
Okay. What else would recommend to increase palatability?
Well, molasses citrus pulp. In Jamaica, I think citrus pulp kind of out of the game right now. What else we have that's pretty good here? Um, Really did some of the same shrubs that we're talking about. Because I
Hmm.
think, especially I think there's a style back in the days where people were talking about standing grass. When they used to cut the grass and put it up in the pen, they don't lay it down or they don't crush it up.
Hmm.
And they said the animals would eat more out of the feeding trough when they felt like they went out to graze because the grass was there. So I think those are the key ones that you have there. Molasses is probably the best one that we have on the table. High protein shrubs, I think, would increase the whole palatability if you're doing a mixed feed compared to just raw grass like the guinea grass or king grass alone. We do have much, we do have much, you know,
I mean, we don't
we
have
don't have
much.
much other ingredients that I think, if you say, boy,
Oh,
it improve palatability. There's not much that we have on the table.
yeah, but do you really need those inputs, knowing that there's so many options available
No, I
out
know,
there?
and that's it. It's just really for individual farmer to kind of find what him can get and put it together. Everybody nutrition plan, not our nutrition ingredient source will never be the same. And that they get from, yes, you're getting hyperfeed, that's probably this one source. But outside that, that 70% of what your diet, or 60% for the average maintenance farmer, what your diet should like, it should be forages. The rest can come from your concentrate and your little free choice minerals. But majority of your diet is forages. That's ideal for ruminants. So it's you to just play around with what we have, what ratio here today. And we can make a right mix with it.
Yeah, I strongly believe in it. I preach it. You know what I mean? And I implore people every time we come on. I implore people to go find the information. This information is there. Didn't stop bugging Khalil till I got this information because I knew it was there. I knew that the research was done. Like you guys will be amazed about the amount of research was done in Jamaica on small ruminants.
And trust me, it's yeah,
You
it's
be
just
guys, you guys would be
that's
amazed. There's a whole document I have on developing the native goats to become a
to
meat,
meet. Yep,
meat
that's why
animal.
they brought in the Boer and the Nubians. That was the plan.
Yeah, there's a
A
whole
three-way
research
cross between
done.
these animals. And you
People
have the
talk
meat
about
animals. So the
Yeah,
conversation
people talk
sometimes,
about the government didn't help. The government helped.
yeah,
People just squandered the help.
yep,
I digress. Anyways, but Khalil, I appreciate you coming on. I know I took too much of your time this evening. You only gave me like 20 minutes, and I
yes,
put it out to almost an hour. So my apologies to you and the significant other. I know you may have a hot date or something. You look dressed up. So, so I appreciate you, bro. And I think Trudy's gonna call you because you know why.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah. Your thing set, man. Don't worry about it.
All right, yeah. So I think I just want to thank you again, and let's deal with the TMR thing
Yeah,
sooner
we
than
we, we,
later,
we,
bro.
we, we we need to get there like
It's like
in this year, in this next year, we need to be at the TMR level.
my second year of business, and I've been asking for this before I
We,
started.
yeah, we
You know
need
what I
to
mean?
get there like right
We
now.
need to get there. We need to figure it out and get there cost effectively, not with a ton of inputs that's gonna squash out people profit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, thanks, man. I
All
appreciate
right.
you,
Take care.
and we'll continue without you. I appreciate it. All right, folks. That is a lot to to digest, but at the end of the day, knowing that these feed is scarce right now, we got options. You know what I mean? We got options to for the people who are heavily dependent on the grain for conditioning or growth, um, daily gains. There are options. Um, Send me an email. Judy put up my email address earlier, and I will send this doc. I'll post it on our Facebook page, both the Cabra Ranch page and the iGoat chat group. I'll post it where people can get it. I circulated this thing so many times, like our faithful people will know that, this thing's been circulated. I've talked about this many times that the information is there. You know what I mean? I'm the dude that keep digging up information and keep looking for the things I need that's going to benefit our operation. You know what I mean? So the information is there, and the application of these grass and forages is what's important. Hence, having Khalil on to explain how do you use them. you know what I mean, without abusing them, you know what I mean, without running into problems. How do you apply them to your feeding program? I think we have a handle on it tonight from what he has told us. I'm expecting everyone in here to find a way to utilize these plans to the best of their ability, to their advantage, and figure out how to reduce their feeding cost. And especially now that the feed is scarce. Like if you won't get grain, you won't buy the more expensive one. You know what I mean? And I believe that we can we can survive this. We can actually develop a system on your farm where routinely you harvest these things and make silage, and you have continuous great quality feed for your animals. I strongly believe that's the case. I think we can do it. We don't have to so dependent on grain to feed everybody. You know what I mean? Y'all know I don't feed grain to maintenance animals. So, you know, and then the silage document that I have, I can also circulate that if people are interested. Um, I will briefly, what I'll do is I'll share briefly here and just scroll through it so people can see what the document entails, right? Um, Here we go. I'll blow it up for everybody and then I'll scroll through it so people can see what it entails. Um, Here we are. So it is silage for small scale farmers and small scale farmers like myself. I'm saying, and this was prepared by USAID, the Agriculture Organization of the United States. What is silage? It tells you what it is, and it says this is the important thing right here. See this? Why silage, not hay? This is very important. This is valuable information. Um, and then it goes into the advantages and disadvantages of 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 silage versus hay. Storage is a big one. Here are the disadvantage. I'll highlight the disadvantage. The disadvantage part is like that's a disadvantage. But look at all the advantage. Look at the advantage of all this. All of it right here. So I'll just slowly scroll through it so you have an idea what this document is about. Like, can you imagine having this right here on your farm? That's a silage tube. Can you imagine having that on the farm? Like you can create that once a year, and you just that's called feed security, and it breaks it down for you. Yeah, information galore, folks, and I will make that document available also. So there you have it. It's a short and sweet one tonight, and If you guys have any questions that I can answer, I will deal with that right now. I will post this document, maybe make it available for downloads, or I'll try to include it in the email that I'll send to people that have emailed me. My phone's going off with all these emails, so I know that people are emailing. Um, so for sure, I will distribute it and I will post it on our Facebook page and the iGoat chat group. If you're not a member of the iGoat chat group yet on Facebook, you should go look it up, join it, and we'll be posting valuable information on there to help farmers. And there's lots of videos from iGoat chat, lots of clips, with vital information. And we continue to share the information we get, the information we discover. We'll continue to share it with us. Wayne, email me. Email us at that email address you see right there. And I will distribute the documents. Any other questions? I want to give a big shout out and thank you to the producer in the background, Miss Trudy. She was holding things down. Okay, so Samuel Golding, Queens and Kings, please invest in yourself and animal nutrition. It affords you a better decision-making process on feeding your herd. Can be more factual than that. That's why the first person I ever spoke to when we got business was Khalil. I said it all the time. The very first person, after researching, watching videos, and all of that stuff, I saw him doing a presentation for Cardi. And I said, that's the guy I want to talk to. How do I feed these animals? He's the first person I picked up the phone and spoke to. So, Mr. Samuel, you are right, sir. That is the way to go. Figure out how to feed your animals properly. Half the battle is won when you educate yourself on that. Bryce, you want to know, to recap, could you summarize the ruminant feed shortage? Well, basically, as Khalil said, there's a shortage of certain ingredients because of shipping problems, thanks to COVID. And we all knew this was coming. We were warned about this a year ago. And if you follow the news, you will see everybody talking about the shortage of ingredients for different things because there's a bottleneck on the shipping side. There's tons of ships and containers sitting in China, sitting in different places because of this. So we were told this was going to happen. So now Jamaica is facing it on the feed side, I guess, grains or other. The memo says micro ingredients. So I assume it's some very important little things, maybe preservative. I don't know what it is, but something that they need to produce the feed on a mass scale. No, they got to ration what they produce. So hence the maintenance ration, which is the lowest, I assume the lowest of on their sales chart, is getting discontinued for 12 weeks or maybe 2 months. We don't know. So then they can produce a regular goat ration, and that will be available along with others. So that's the short of it. That's, in summary, that's what's going on. So what we did was to go over the different options that farmers have to them to utilize as substitutes, the things that are available around them. So there you go. That's it. I want to thank you guys for being here as usual. Big up to everybody that participate, the questions, the comments, the inputs. Let's just stay strong and stick together and keep sharing information, and we will be able to move forward and move the needle in this business. Big up everybody, big up the newcomers. Me, Mr. Crawford, thank you for coming through, stopping by, and you know, being a part of the whole iGoat family. Respect to everyone. Thank you all, and we will see you next week. Blessings and peace out.